Hello everybody, it is Christine. It is time for my last challenge with my counterfeit kit this month. It's the scraps challenge, which means, you know, use your scraps from your kit. So this is what I have in the way of scraps. I'll show you also what I have, but I have these pieces here. I think actually I picked that up something else, but it kind of goes. So I have these, like a red, a green, this blue. The back side is like cut things. It's the back side of the red. That's like florals. So, but I'm kind of liking these because they're, I hate to use word generic, but they're kind of, you know, usable. Graphic 45, their designs will be very fancy, you know, like this kind of stuff. But the B-sides are always really usable. So I've always enjoyed that. So what I have in the way of the rest of my kit, if you check back in the very beginning, I did pull this pad in. So I still have this pad in the sense of like, I have the pad. But y'all, I knew I was never going to get through the whole pad. The whole point was to use at least some of it. And I did. I've used some of it. So I'm happy with that. If I'm brutally honest, I put this in there because the whole kit was kind of like country. I'm trying to remember the details, but it was like, you know, country farmish type stuff. And I put this quilt in there. And y'all, I don't know how I'm going to use that. So that's not getting used this month. Oh, technically there's another scrap. That's not a whole piece. And then this blue piece here, which is just a nice plaid. So I'm not going to put that in here. I'm going to set it aside. So basically 2 pieces of paper are left, 2 full. And then, of course, my pad, but again, I'm not counting that because that was a whole pad. And then I do still have, like, some enamel dots here. I have a few little pieces of ephemera, not much. And my challenge was this blue. This is kind of a purpley blue. And you'll notice this is more of a, I don't know, Wedgwood blue or something. So he's been hard to use. I probably won't use him today. I don't even think I might use the B. I do still have these little journaling cards. There's a lot of those as well. This little piece here, which I don't know if I use it or not. We'll set it in here just in case. And, of course, some flowers and whatnot, which I might use because I'll show you the pictures. Oh, first off, the other thing I want to mention, too. Let me set this aside for a second. I found this cutting mat thing. I've mentioned before, I have a big glass mat, and I do enjoy that for, like, the mixed media and things like that. But it's a little bit slippery. And I also realized a couple of my rubber feet had fallen off, so I kind of need to fix it. So I pulled this thing out. I've had it a while. I hardly have used it. It's got a laser square on it, and it has some magnets. So I thought, you know what? Let's try this. I'll show you real quickly. So you put this on. There's like a laser. Can you see it? And then you change like where you want things to be. Like if you need to be in the center of your layout, you know, like that. And let's say I set this. By the way, this is the one full-size sheet of paper I'm pulling out to use as my background. And say you set that down, and theoretically, that's the center of your paper. I thought there was one on this side, but I guess there's not. So, you know that's going to be basically the center of your paper. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to try using that. So I've got these papers here. That's my background. Technically, I could have assembled a background, I suppose, with using this and using 12 by 12. Maybe I'll do that and then use that as my inside or my frame. I might do that to use it up. The pictures I have are my husband and my father-in-law. This is in 2003, y'all. And they were just doing some yard work. And I thought this could be really cute. I did pull out this sketch here from Scrap Room Flavors of the Month. It's from November 2024. And I thought it'd be kind of neat just to kind of, we'll see if, I mean, there's 3 photos, so we'll see. But I thought it'd be kind of nice just to try to do like a sketch, you know, be this inspired by this. So that is what I'm starting with. So actually, let me do this. I think I will actually use this as my base and make it a frame because it's going to be a little strange with the red plaid. Maybe let me flip this over. I mean, it's kind of farmy. Why not? I don't know. Why not? Wait, I don't need to frame that. I can use this and this as those pieces. Y'all, I'm jibber-jabbering here. So let me do a little cutting. I'll be back on in a second while I've got my thoughts together. Okay, so I did go with this side up instead of the little gingham plaid looking thing. The biggest part that ends up showing is in the upper right where it says Home Sweet Home. So I'm actually kind of happy with this. I mean, you can still kind of see the chickens and milk jugs and things, but the Home Sweet Home is what stands out the most. I say that there's apple pie in the upper left. But anyway, the point is I like this pattern, so we're going to stick with it. And then the green, I'm going to end up trimming that a tad because it doesn't come down the whole way. So I'll end up with the green underneath it. I really enjoy how this turned out, especially if I'm on my favorite part are going to be the leaves that I had in the little flower batch that you saw. So you'll see me start poking those in a minute. Because in the photos, of course, they're planting these bushes. This was at my in-laws' house. This was, again, 2003. So my husband's shorts are so funny. This is back, too. He was, how old was he? 2003 was how many years ago? 12? No, y'all. 22. Holy cow. He was probably his early 30s. I'm not going to do the math. 34, I think is what he was. Because my daughter would have been about 5. So, yeah, I guess that's about right. Give or take. Let's just say that. He was his early 30s. So, he was very much working out and all that kind of stuff. And he's got them nice legs. And I like looking at these pictures, if I'm honest. Oh, my gosh, you guys. Y'all are friends, right? So, it's okay if I say stuff like that. Anyways, the whole point of me telling y'all that is it's got these bushes and it's got these leaves. And so I'm really pleased when I start pulling out the leaves from my little kit here that I get to use them. I think it works perfectly. Now, I've got these 4x6 photos that I mounted on white cardstock. Then I'm going to end up pulling out of I'm going to have to get into my stash anyway because I really didn't have anything left except enamel dots and those flowers and stuff that I showed you guys. So I'm going to run over and get a title and stuff like that. So you'll see that in just a minute as well. I did end up pulling these blue pieces for the strips, the vertical strips, and they're scraps. I feel a little guilty because my, quote, scraps are quite large. I don't have I have a few that were smaller, but honestly, I had kind of bigger pieces. So that all being said, I'm pleased to have used them because, again, I'm trying to use some of this stuff up. I was looking around my room the other day, y'all, and yeah, I don't know. I'm never using all this paper. My poor daughter. I asked her the other day, I said, what are you going to do with all my albums and stuff, when I'm gone? And she says, well, I'm going to give them to your grandkids. And not that she doesn't want them, but she's like, I just think it's neat, that my children will get to look back at, me as a child that you got, because most of my layouts, let's be real. I shouldn't say most. Let's say 65% of my layouts are about my daughter. Let's say that. Obviously, this one's not, so I'm kind of proud I was able to do one without her. But anyways, y'all, I'm just rambling. It is a afternoon, and I slept better last night. The night before, I didn't sleep too good. So, I don't know. I'm just rambling a little bit. So, my sincere apologies for that. I'm just putting stuff down on this layout here, so it's not like it's complicated. You saw I laid down the red with I just put the ATG at the top so I could slip the green up underneath, and I did that. And then the two pieces here that I'm going to use is my vertical little banners that was on that sketch. I made the little pointy ends on the bottom, and then kind of laid them where I thought I needed to cut the top because it was, they kind of come almost all the way to the bottom. So I'm trying to decide, too, if I enjoy working on this mat because it does keep me contained, but at the same time, like when I did need to lay these things down, they couldn't, lay down above the paper, so because they hit the little board or the little ruler thing. But I did enjoy having the ability to turn that laser on for the center. I'm a little puzzled as to why there's not one along the side, but I guess you don't have to. I think I like it. I'm going to try it again. I did use the magnets. I don't know if you can see that. I got them on the little, creamy colored yellow piece. I think that worked out pretty good. I put that photo up at just a tad too high. I'm going to move it down because it's supposed to have a title to the right-hand side. And, again, I didn't use 3 photos, so it's a little off. But I make it work. I think this looks pretty good here. I do actually end up handwriting the year, and I'm not sure I love that. But at the same time, again, I am a fan of making sure our handwriting is somewhere in our albums because I've got letters. In fact, it's really funny when I was going through looking for photos because I wanted to do something other than what was on my phone just because I just felt like it. You get those moods, right? And I happened to come across a couple of letters that my mother had written. One was to me, but it was in the point of view of a little crocheted animal, I think, because I'm reading it and she's talking about the name of this little animal. I don't even remember this animal. Have no idea what this was, but I was reading it. It looked like her handwriting, even though she doesn't sign it Mom. She signs it the little animal name. And then there was another letter that she had sent to her mother, I think it was. So I was thinking in my head, I'm going, first off, how did I end up with those? But then secondly, I'm thinking this is why you keep, your journals and things like that. So I was looking at my mama's handwriting, and I thought, well, that's so neat. She was young because I had to have been young. So I think that's why we scrapbook too. I just really enjoy that, looking back on that. And my house could burn down. If I saved only my albums, I'd be all right with it. I mean, not people, obviously, but things. Like, if everything burnt down except my albums, I'd be all right. My albums and my photos, I drag them out, and everything else is just stuff to me. It's just couches and TVs or whatever. So you can always buy that, but not my albums, not my photos and my albums. So here's where I got my, that's very morbid, you guys. I'm so sorry. I'm just waxing poetic over here. I got my titles. I got Working Together is what it's going to be. I've got Together was from actually an old Simple Stories collection. I shouldn't say old. It might be from last year. And then I got Working was blue letters from, I think, a Hip Kit. I can't swear on it, but I think so. So it's Working Together. And then here's where I'm pulling all these leaves out. And I'm really happy with this because it reminds me of the little bushes in the photos. I'll have a couple of different styles here. I will glue the bottoms down with Nuvo glue, and then I am going to put foam squares, the small ones, up underneath pretty much every leaf. Pretty much every leaf, basically. I'm going to end up coming, I won't do that on camera because y'all don't need to sit there and watch that, but you'll notice I'm kind of poking these little leaves just kind of various different directions. And I was actually kind of happy I found the light colored one. I didn't even know that existed initially. And I was like, oh, look at that. I got a different color. So I was kind of happy. So I poked those in there. I'll also put the little bee up on foam. So you'll see that later, I think. No, I don't show you, but it will be up on foam. And then after I've glued all those down with some Nuvo glue and put my little foam bits on there, I'm going to come in here with some enamel dots. So I'm going to just put in like a red, blue, and yellow, which is, you know, to me kind of the main colors. Obviously green's in here, but from like the paper standpoint, it's the red, green, and yellow. Or red, no, I guess that's not true. The green paper's in there too. But I'll put red, blue, and yellow. Let's just say that. And I'll just kind of put those around the three little leafy areas and kind of tuck them in. And then once I do that, you guys, I don't know that I do this on camera, but I will get a pen, a little black pen, and I'll write the 2003. And then I get a little bit sad because I think my handwriting's messy. This is where I'm trying to decide which of the yellow enamel dots, because I actually had like 3 different ones over there. And I will end up putting those back in my reorganized enamel dot section. So I'm trying to decide if I want to. The 2 of them that had only a couple pieces missing, I put those almost as full back in there because I have a couple that are like full sets that I didn't split up by color. But so only a couple pieces are missing, so I'll stick those back in there like that. But the dark blue I'll move. Here's where I write the 2003, and I'm kind of I'm not sure if I love it, but it's okay. And then after that, you guys, that is the end of my layout. So make sure you check out the Facebook group and the blog. This will be on the blog where I talk about, you know, the scraps or whatever. Not that I had tiny scraps. They were kind of bigger scraps. So, but I think this turned out really cute. I'm actually kind of happy with this. And I got a couple of really old photos documented. So I'm really pleased. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you for listening to my my rambling today. It was a bit of a, I guess, almost like a journal entry, wasn't it? Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Y'all say hello and I'll say hello back. And we will see you next time. Bye.